Hello, my friend Jimmy Mawson here. It's a great day for breakthrough. In my video today, I want to talk a little bit about how I proposed to my wife. It's a bit of a crazy story because actually I don't have, the super romantic story that a lot of people have. I didn't get to the top of the Eiffel Tower and propose, or I wasn't in a restaurant or, and had the ring kind of buried in a cake somewhere or anything like that. Literally, I had this idea to kind of go to my wife's work, and the idea was, it's Friday evening, and I was hoping to kind of just, kind of walk in, propose in front of all of her workmates, have a bunch of roses in my hand, and, carry her out of the office on the Friday evening. And my plan was really, I was really excited about my plan, and I was thinking, this is going to be great. And it ended up being that, it was Christmas time. It was about a week before Christmas. Where she lived was, I had to travel to get to where she lived, where she worked, and it was kind of crazy. Like, it all went wrong. I ended up having to try and get a taxi to her work, but because it was Christmas, a week before Christmas, the queues were really long and everything was going wrong. I couldn't get a taxi, I was getting late, so I ended up having to walk all the way to her work, and it was probably about a 20 to 25 minute walk. And I'm walking, and it's, I'm sweating, the sweat's pouring off me, my roses are wilting, and I'm running, and in the end I actually missed her. So fortunately I had a mobile at the time, and I had to actually ring ahead and say to her, listen, don't leave work, because she was literally leaving her place of work to come and meet me in London. She didn't live in London, I lived in London at the time, and she actually she was coming to meet me, so she didn't know that I was coming to meet her at her work. And as I had to call her and say, listen, I'm in your area. I've come to meet you at work. And she was like, what? What are you doing? And I said, yeah, I'm coming to meet you as a surprise. So she waited for me. And by the time I'd got to her work, it was so late that she had actually gone home to get her stuff. And then she had to come back to pick me up. So she drove back to work. By this point, it was starting to rain. It was getting dark. And as she pulled up in the car park to pick me up, I literally got on one knee in this dark car park, my roses wilted, and got out the ring and proposed to her. And I said, will you marry me? And she was like, what? And it was a crazy situation, and I was so disappointed. But thankfully she said yes. And we've just celebrated our 11th wedding anniversary a couple of days ago. And the reason I'm telling you this story is because actually I wanted to relate it a bit to business. And one of the things that I was thinking was that actually, often when you first get started in online business or as an entrepreneur, you start off a bit rough, things don't always go to plan. You get maybe made promises of big income, that the work is gonna be easy, and it's just gonna be really a simple push button way to make money. And actually, those things are not always false promises, but it's just that in the beginning, it's not always the truth, And in my experience, I've tried many, push button softwares and like one-time things where you think it's going to be easy, and actually it turns out to be a lot more complicated than it's promised at first. And you get off to a rocky start and things don't work out the way you were hoping that they would work out. But the truth is, my friend, don't worry about all of that. You got to stay consistent, stay faithful, stay focused, have a clear intention for what you're doing, and just work at that thing until it happens. And I can truly say, I've been in this industry for 6 years now, and I can truly say it's not been easy at all. It's not been easy at all. But what's made the difference for me is consistency, just faithfully, just showing up daily and just doing what I know to be right. And as I've done that, I've started to take steps, and I started to see breakthrough, and I started to see people join my team. I started to see sign-ups, I started to see commissions. And if you've heard any of my story before, you'll know it took me 4 years before I ever made 1 penny online. took me 4 years, but I didn't give up. I stayed committed because I had a very clear idea of what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to get out of this thing, and I knew that I had to break through. And I was determined, and I stayed faithful. And you know, my wife said yes to me, you know, because she knew that I loved her. She knew that I was faithful, that I was consistent, you know, that I believed in her, and that, you know, she knew that we had a future together. And all of those things were really important in keeping us and bringing us to where we are now. You know, we're 11 years on, well, 11 plus years if you count our engagement and all of that. But the truth is, my friend, if you stick with it, don't worry about how you start out. Don't worry about how you start out. We all start out, you know, all over the place. And sometimes you can look at people who are established and think, oh man, I'll never get there. You know, they've got this, they've got a whole team, you know, they've got big numbers that they can quote as results. You know, I've got nothing. But don't worry about how you start. It's not about how you start, my friend. It's about your daily commitment to show up, be consistent, be faithful, be focused, have a clear intention, and get that thing moving every day. Be prepared to put in some hard work and time. You know, my marriage has taken, to be 11 years in, it's taken hard work, it's taken effort and time. And it's not easy. There's days when you don't want to show up. But the truth is, my friend, you've got to keep doing it. You've got to keep doing it. If you want it, if you believe in it enough, you've got to do it. Keep doing it every day. Do the work that's required. Do the work that's required. Make that thing happen. Do the late nights, you know, do the calls, the Facebook messaging, whatever it is that you're doing, the videos, do whatever it is you have to do, and make that thing a daily consistent action. And you will see breakthrough, you will see change, you will see results. You will get to that point where you're able to look back and say, man, I've done this, I've been consistent, and I've achieved what I set out to achieve, and it will happen. My friend, Jimmy Mawson signing out. As always, if you're ready to work with me, click the link below, or wait for the link at the end of this video and click that and get in. I'll see you on the inside.